Genesis is a relatively new brand to the UK. It's been around about a year, but it's coming in thick and fast with electric vehicles. This is the latest entry. It's the Electrified GV70, coming hot on the heels of the GV60 and the Electrified G80. Size-wise, it's a step up from the GV60, but it's still firmly placed in the luxury category. Before we tell you all about this luxury vehicle, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. The front of this Electrified GV70 looks like the combustion engine version. There's a fake grille, and you know, the port where you charge the vehicle is so well hidden, you really have to look for it. But it is there, we promise you. This is a proper SUV. You know that because when you slip into the driver's seat, you've got a lovely high position and a great view of the road ahead. Unlike the rest of the Genesis range, it wears the large Bentley-inspired radiator grille at the front, while the lower grille is shaped with diagonal edges, giving the car a sporty stance. The headlights are positioned on the corners as two horizontal strips. Around the side, it's athletic looking with a prominent spoiler overhanging the rear windscreen, almost like the peak of a baseball cap. In contrast, chunky side skirts and tapered windows add to the character. At the back, the car has a minimalist design, again featuring dual horizontal strips on each side for the taillights. Sport Grade is the only variant featuring 19-inch alloys, although our test car has 20-inch rims. So this is the Electrified Genesis GV70, but it's worth remembering that there is a combustion engine version of this, and it was the original GV70. Metallic pearl and matte paint schemes are offered for the GV70, some of which cost north of £1,000. The main options though are the bolt-on packs, in particular the Innovation Pack, which totals over £3,500 and includes a 12.3-inch 3D digital instrument display, a head-up display and advanced highway driving assist. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel and 3-zone climate control are among the add-ons in the Convenience Pack. Meanwhile, the Comfort Seat Pack includes ventilated seats and adds a massage function to the front seats. A Lexicon premium audio system is available for around £1,000. There's also a sunroof pack, a fingerprint reader and a vehicle to load package. The interior of the Electrified GV70 simply amazes, and this car is fitted with the Comfort and Convenience Packs. But rather than me rattle on about it, let's just jump inside and show you. There are lots of options available, although it's worth mentioning that you will be spending a lot of money. For instance, this car is fitted with Napa leather with quilting, and that'll cost you £2,000 more. Heated seats, a heated steering wheel and 3-zone climate control are among the add-ons in the Convenience Pack. Meanwhile, the Comfort Seat Pack includes ventilated seats and adds a massage function to the front seats. You'll never have to worry about adjusting your seat too much because all the electrical switches will do it for you. And if your partner or wife or husband or whoever decides to borrow the car, there's no need to worry about readjusting to get comfortable. You've got memory and you've got 2 different positions, so you can just hit either of those switches and the car will bring the seat back to the position you absolutely love. Comfort's just not an issue with this car. It's just gorgeous. It really is just so easy to sit in this thing, glide along, get out 100 miles later. You really don't feel like you've been in this car a long time. Headroom is great in the front. So you'll find generous storage space inside the cabin, including this center console cubby here, very deep as you can see. It's enough to take a bottle of water, for instance. No problem whatsoever. 2 cup holders. And you've got 2 USB charging ports there, so you can either plug your phone in or use this wireless charging tray here. You've got generous door pockets and this fairly okay glove compartment. It's not the biggest, but it's enough to fit the substantial Genesis owner's manual in there. I've already mentioned the front, it's generous when it comes to head and legroom. The rear, well, it's still respectable, but not quite as good. There we are, you can see for yourself, 6 foot tall, sitting behind the seat I've just sat in. I've still got okay knee room, headroom is okay, but it's the shoulder room here, look. You might get somebody small in the middle, but you won't want 3 across the back for too long. This is really designed for two people in the back, especially when you lower this rather chunky and lovely centre armrest with two cup holders there. However many people you're going to fit in the back seat, none of them will complain about being too cold or too hot, because you have your own temperature control here. You also have heated seats, although notably only here and here. So maybe Genesis has decided that no one is going to sit in the middle, or if they are, they're going to be very cold or very hot. You've also got this here, two USB slots. Magazine nets haven't been forgotten either. Perfect for your kids to keep their copy of the Squid Games annual 2023 edition, or whatever it is they want to keep in there. And like all cars, it's really important not to forget that you have Isofix points in this Electrified GV70 too. Perfect for your toddlers or growing children, certainly. Although it's notable that we can't find any Isofix anchor points in the front passenger seat, which is a bit of a letdown. This sunroof doesn't come as standard, but isn't it gorgeous if you go for this sunroof pack? And the all-important boot that I can't open, because guess what? The key isn't working, and I can't find the button to open it from the outside. Cameraman couldn't find it either, which is a bit worrying. So let me just go around to the front of the car and open it this way. Well, now we've got the boot lid open, you see before you a fairly sizable 503 litres of cargo capacity. Not forgetting you can open up the boot floor, and there's things such as this cover, charging cables, and if you really don't want to fit everything under there, Genesis has provided a neat little case for yet more charging cables. We've also got these storage nets here, top tether anchor points as well for child seats. It's also really nice to see that there's no real boot lip. Some people really do object to that. These seat lowering handles are really, really handy, look. Really handy. Yes, you have to go around and lift them back up again, but hey, no great shakes. Doing that gives you 1678 litres of space, and the boot floor is not quite flat, but it's flat enough. Overall, that's a very decent capacity for an SUV of this size. Closing the boot is slightly simpler than opening it, it would appear. You have to lift the seats back up manually. You have to be Jeff Capes to do it. All right, I'm exaggerating, not really. You can't have everything. And you can adjust the rake of the rear seats with handles at the side, like so. This car's got a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. The official claim range is 283 miles, although this test car will only do 276 because of the 20-inch alloys fitted to it. That range is on the low side, especially when compared with competitors such as the Tesla Model Y long range. So as we can see, or maybe not see, the port is very well hidden. You just press on the grille and hey presto, here we are. This car's got Hyundai's 800 volt technology, which means it can charge up to 350 kilowatt DC. That's so quick, meaning you can charge this car from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. Assuming you can find a charger in the UK that's that quick, then the slightly lower range on this car doesn't matter quite so much. And if you're charging from a regular 7.4 kilowatt home charging wall box, then you're looking at around 12 hours to charge this car up. My overall feel when it comes to the cockpit is that it's very, very easy to use. Yeah, okay, some of the menus are buried here within the infotainment system, but what's really lovely is that you have some obvious physical dials here to adjust the temperature within the car. You've got some buttons here, the map, the sat nav, the radio, the media, and the setup here too. Very easy to use. And you've got the controller here. It might not be quite as good as the good old BMW iDrive controller, but it works very well, and you've got this rotating gear selector here. Yeah, all in all, I love the car. The steering wheel, it feels good in the hand. You've got this very, very obvious boost button here that we'll talk about later. And when it comes to looking into the driver's binnacle, you've got this 3D effect, so you can see very, very clearly all that you need to see when it comes to driving on the UK's roads. It's really lovely to see that these temperature controls are physical. They're not buried within the infotainment screen. And yeah, the heat and the cooling system is here for the seats. You can adjust the speed of the fan here very easily. It's just really easy to use, unlike some cars on the road today. You've got this rotary knob here that helps you look at all the screens and the information. It's very, very useful and very, very easy to use. You've got another rotary control here, which is the gear selector, and you've got the radio on and off switch, tuning button and volume. You've even got a little switch here for the camera for when you come to park, and you've got also a drive button here for driving on different terrains, snow, mud and sand. But all in all, this is just very nicely laid out, and it's lovely that it's just so physical. Everything's really easy to reach on the steering wheel. You've got the volume here. You can switch through different media settings here. You have a huge, very obvious boost button, which we will speak about this later. And you have here the different controls for cruise control. And there we go, they've got a head-up display button here. Yeah. And of course, the big old horn in the middle. Now the instrumentation is so crisp, it's almost 3D. So it stands out at you. You've got the range, you've got sat-nav instructions in front of you, you've got the kind of terrain you're driving on down here, and probably it's the most important thing, isn't it, in an electric car? You've got how much electricity, how much charge you've got left, and yeah, you can configure everything here very well inside. It's really hard for the camera to see, but this car does have a head-up display, not as standard, but as part of a pack. But when it's there, it's really useful. So an incredibly clear infotainment screen here, and you have this great array of options. So you've got the EV map, navigation, radio, media, phone, Genesis Connected Services, Genesis Live, and it continues. Phone projection, voice memo, settings, valet mode, seats, climate, terrain mode, and it continues. And you've got the manual. You can read all about the car here. You've even got a QR code you can scan. And of course it shows the range in front of you, the percentage of the charge left in the battery, and it will show you nearby stations so you can go and charge your car up. It's very, very easy to use, and you just press the home button here anytime you need if you get lost. This Genesis Electrified GV70 has got 490 PS. And that will get it from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 4.2 seconds. Without exaggeration, that's getting on for Lamborghini-esque speeds, isn't it? But there is one caveat. You do need to hit this boost button to attain that kind of performance. I'm not going to lie, and why would I? This GV70 does feel big, even more so when you're on these narrow-ish country roads. And the tarmac here is relatively smooth, but I still feel jostled about and not particularly confident taking corners at speed. But then again, you don't buy an SUV to take corners at speed in, do you? This is a car built for comfort, mainly on motorways really. You know what, it's still fine though. We're driving at just under 40 miles an hour right now. Camera's not wobbling about too much, is it? So maybe I am being just that little bit too picky. I suspect this will be used, as many cars are, for the school run. It isn't designed for urban driving though. It's not really a car you'd want to be weaving in and out of narrow terraced streets in. It'll do it fine, but you'll probably end up knocking a wing mirror off at some point, or worse still, carving your alloy wheel up on a curb. Motorways and dual carriageways are where this Genesis Electrified GV70 belongs. It is a car designed for cruising, designed for sitting back, hitting cruise control and almost letting the car do the driving for you. It is utterly sublime to sit in. Really, I could just park this up and use this as my office. It's that comfortable. When it comes to the all-important safety factor, and particularly so for an SUV because most people buying an SUV will have a family, this car hasn't been tested by the experts at Euro NCAP yet. However, the combustion engined version of the GV70 has, and that attained the top 5 stars. However, this car is absolutely jam-packed with safety kit, so I have no reason to doubt that this car won't get 5 stars if it's tested as well. You get automatic emergency braking with cruise control, with stop and start. There's highway driving assist with blind spots, collision avoidance assist as well. You've got lane keeping assist and forward collision avoidance. This car also provides lane following assistance. You also get front and rear parking sensors and a reversing parking camera. And if you go for the rather expensive innovation pack, you do get a lot of extra safety tech put into the car as well. Now we come to the elephant in the car, which is how much this SUV costs. The base price is £63,600, but this test car is over £78,000. So this car is more expensive than a Tesla Model Y, but not quite as costly as a Model X. But whichever way you slice the cake, you are looking at Mercedes-Benz pricing. However, it does compare very favourably with BMW's iX. You also get a very good 5-year, 100,000 mile warranty. And it's still not quite as good as Kia's 7-year warranty though, is it? Overall, the Genesis Electrified GV70 isn't a bargain, but it's not hideously overpriced either for a luxury SUV. There you have it then, the Genesis Electrified GV70. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it hasn't got the longest range, but isn't it good looking, especially in this colour scheme? It's also not German, which in some ways is quite a good thing. You'll stand out from the crowd, especially with this badge. It looks a bit Bentley, it looks a bit Aston Martin, but all in all, you will be driving a premium SUV. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.